going to ask because, yeah, you definitely highlighted the whole pandemic. And if you think about everything it affected, in every single area, there was, bereavement, not just as in people, but also within ourselves, within question marks of what do I do? How do I do it? And things like that. So you pretty much landed in my question, which and you actually even said it even before I wanted to say it. So one thing I'm really intrigued to kind of know and understand was, even around this topic, being your brother's keeper, who is your keeper? Who is holding you accountable? And obviously everyone, I think last year and this year, everybody that most probably could have held you accountable most probably wasn't there because they were going through their own demons and shadows and things like that. But yeah, I mean, I just want to get your insight in regards to that, or if it's an array of people.
Yeah, it's definitely an array of people for me. First of all is I'd go to my parents. Reason being, when all this was happening, I was working in Birmingham, and I've had to move back home to be with them because obviously given the pandemic and shielding and all that kind of stuff, and I was far away, I couldn't be with them. So it was kind of great. We just decided, whilst my business obviously tries to pick up and stuff like that, it's best that I just move in with them, and so we can all just be together as a family, and for them just to take me in, and accept me back home and stuff like that. I couldn't be more appreciative, because obviously I'm not a burden, but still it's just when you're used to having your own space and stuff like that, and then having to come back home, so I appreciate the love, because then that was just a great show of love in terms of having me back, and then me having somebody to be with every single day during the pandemic, because I don't even know what I would have been doing if I was in Birmingham by myself. And then Shy has been, whenever I'm having issues that obviously I can't go to my parents about, I'd go to him, because he's the closest friend that I have at the moment who would understand my situation. So he's definitely one of the people that I'm free to actually cry to if I need to cry, and complain to if I need to complain without any judgment. I know he wouldn't judge me or complaining, and sometimes we just laugh at it. It's like, yeah, well, you are in this situation, what's the worst that could happen? We just have to ride through it. You know what I mean? So it's not like you're expecting solutions, but you just have somebody to actually laugh the pain off with.
Appreciate you, bro. Yeah. No, I mean, I said at the beginning, yeah, sort of my salvation, and that is genuine, because there's been so many moments where I've hit certain walls, or I won't go into the breakup one, but there was a breakup situation as well. Ooh, it rocked me. I was on the floor confused, people. It was hard. All I could do was call Chax. I didn't know what else to do. But I think one of the biggest things I've learned in having Chax in my life is that you do need people, no matter how positive and optimistic you are, you do need people who can point you toward the light, can tell you it's okay, can tell you no matter what you say, no matter what you've done, no matter how you think, that you're enough as you are, and they accept you as you are. And it takes a lot of trust, and trust has to be built, and I think established over time. And I've been lucky enough to have that. And even in moments where I've been navigating things like faith, and because to some extent what you face, sometimes you lean on faith, and not in a I think I remember one of the coolest moments for me was, I think we're in a car, we're driving somewhere in London, and you start pumping some gospel tracks, and I was like, man, these are fire! Like they're like, there's a king in you, blessings of Abraham. This was like Donald Lawrence and the Tri-City
Your
Singers.
inheritance.
Yo, it's your inheritance. And I was like people tell you, you should do good, you should work hard, but it was literally like, imagine you're bumping it, it's summertime, you're hanging with your, your mate, and is basically saying this stuff to you like, dude, you are like of royalty, and you deserve, should we say, the earth, and you are built to do much more.
You're the head, you're not the tail.
Yo, you're a lender, never a borrower. Like,
Exactly.
I was like,
Words of
hey.
affirmation, and sometimes you
Yeah.
need it. And it's not to be overly religious or something like that, but sometimes you just need to hear the words that can kind of empower you and just remind you, or, of things. And sometimes it's just good every once in a while to kind of listen to people, listen to songs, or watch movies or something that actually give you that kind of inspiration and fire to kind of keep on pushing on and keep on going.
100%. And for anyone listening, hopefully you've got people like that in your life. If you don't, work towards it, or try and find them and give a little. You don't have to give someone everything or all your details and information right off the bat. You can give them bits and see how you go. And I'd be lying if I said sometimes I find it difficult to reach out still, because part of me doesn't want to let my brother down. I'm like, oh, I can't be having this conversation with him again, moaning about my other thing. But I won't say I regret it every time I do that, but I know that every time we end up having the conversation, salvation. You know what I mean? Like, he's always got the words that just remind me to keep striving for something, to keep moving, and it'll be okay. And that I'm not walking the path alone. And if I stumble, I'm not gonna get left behind, type thing. I'm gonna get told to quickly catch up. Like, don't stay down too long, bro.
I think being a brother's keeper, it's more important that we recognize that there's no barriers to it. It doesn't have to be anything specific. It's just sometimes being there, just having that conversation, just having a chat with somebody about something that you might be going through that you're not sure. And sometimes people find comfort in speaking to people that they're not related to, or somebody that's not within their circles for their own reasons. So I think it's important that people do not keep things inside of them. It's kind of good to find somebody you can speak to. It could be a therapist. If you don't have that close circle, like you said, you might find it more comforting to speak to somebody that doesn't know you, because you might maybe be embarrassed about your situation, or not be up for it to speak to people that you're close to, or sometimes not even that you're embarrassed, maybe because you feel they might start feeling sorry for you, or make it their responsibility to kind of fix it, and you don't want to be a burden. So yeah, you can find a neutral person to actually speak to about these kind of things that you're going through. And being a brother's keeper means you also have to be that person to other people. You have to make yourself available. So it goes two ways. So it's not just about you speaking, it's about you as well, creating that kind of conducive environment. A lot of us guys have got family, we've got our nephews, we've got, young colleagues at work, we've got different kind of setups in every walk of life. So how are you making yourself available in those different platforms that you are, to the people that might be needing help? Sometimes it's just as simple as being friendly to somebody, smiling, offering somebody a cup of tea at work and stuff like that. And people get surprised. Oh, wow, how could you do that? I mean, I remember the first time I was working in the city in 2015, and in the office, it was after lunch, you have people put their plates in the sink in the kitchen area and stuff like that, and then the dishwasher might be full, and then the place is just so much of a mess. And it was my first week, and there was, after lunch, there was so much mess, there was no space for anyone to put more things, and I just went to clear out the dishwasher, packed up everything, washed a few of the things in the sink. And my director came up to me, and everyone was surprised, like, why would you be doing that? Why are you doing it? I was just like, well, it's just normal. Like, if there's no space for people to put other things, why can't I just do that? And from then on, like, people's attitude, he sent an email across, oh, can you see, how this person has done this for us? And I'm thinking, for me, it's just normal. That's what I do when I'm home. Like, it's expected. When the sink is full up, the dishwasher is full up, you just clear it up. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to kill me to do that. It doesn't make me less of a person because I think, oh, you're doing a cleaner's job. That doesn't matter to me. As long as it's creating the space that we need, and then we're in a clean environment, then that's cool. That it doesn't kill me to do that in 2 or 3 minutes. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's simple things like that that will maybe make people actually realize, you know what, I can do it. And then other people also say, you know what, you've done it today, let me do it tomorrow. You know, it's just a simple thing like that that can set standards, and you know, yeah. So we always just don't have to look for specific things or grand gestures. It's just small things that can help as well. So people can be going through issues, just you offering a cup of tea, just talking to them, just saying hello and smiling. I mean, London's got a reputation of everyone having kind of a serious face, Scrooge, you know, nobody smiles at anybody. So yeah, just tell somebody to have a good day, and that's it. You just never know what it actually means to them inside.
Definitely, I definitely agree with you. I think as soon as you leave London, the whole change, the whole attitude and character of people become much more friendly and more, oh, hi, you know, you're just walking past kind of thing. So I definitely agree. And I think now is also a good opportunity to also mention, you know, the overarching theme and, you know, where it originates from. And, you know, even when we started, Shai also pointed out, and it made me realize that, you know, being your brother's keeper originates from, you know, biblical terms, from Genesis with Cain and Abel. Even though it's a tragic story, it's not about asking, am I my brother's keeper? Is that you are your brother's keeper irrespective. And, you know, being your brother's keeper comes with responsibility, accountability. And I think you've also seen where, you know, and you just demonstrated that being in the office, and, you know, you're, without even thinking twice or thinking, oh, this person's done that, so I can't do that kind of thing. So I don't, and I think you guys have also seen the picture where, let's say, for instance, someone is a cleaner, but you could be someone who is so successful, but you have the same respect for that cleaner or whoever that person is, because you're also their keeper and they're also your keeper as well. So it goes hand in hand. And I think that is, you know, a very important aspect to basically mention of what this is and how that feeds into the whole, you know, mental aspect and the space of that. Is that even when, prime example, you know, when we went on the walk that you know, partook with us, when we hiked up Snowdon, it was a collective journey where we all went collectively, was each other's brother's keeper. Everyone had different abilities. So even if there were people that were even more tired, you know, no one person is going to single-handedly get to the summit by themselves. We do it all collectively, come down, leave, and, you know, bond with each other as well. And even the conversations we have, we share them, and we realize that we're all experiencing these things one way or another, and we're each other's keeper, we're holding each other. And even by the end of it, we're just filled with so much fulfillment that we've been able to stand side by side, walk side by side, and, you know, open the next chapter irrespectively and be our brother's keeper. Not even question, wait, I've just met this guy. Is he my keeper? Is he my brother, or what? He's your brother, period.
That's it. Yeah, 100% agree with that.
I won't push it to 1 billion, but I've got a little question here. I'm like, no, we'll go for 1 billion. Would you rather have £1 billion or your 10 closest friends? And why would you choose that? I know there's some people out there who'll be like, give me the bill right now.
I mean, obviously it might sound cliche and people might think, yeah, right, you definitely get the money. But for me, it's more about brotherhood. It's more about having the people around. I value people more than I value material things. And that's because throughout my life, I've had different stages in terms of the families I've lived in and around. There's been situations where, you know, we've had a lot of money and we've had a lot of material things. And there's been instances where all that has been gone and you don't have it at all. And it fluctuates. And that's just how life is. Sometimes you have and sometimes you don't. So even if I did have 1 billion, it's more like, will it really buy me the actual interaction that I have with people? Will it give me the joy of having a brother next to me that I can share my problems with and talk to, you know, somebody that will make me laugh through my pain, like the way Shai does, and you know, somebody to encourage me, give me the advice. You know, I've got uncles that I still go to now, my first cousins that I still go to now, in terms of just how to navigate life when, you know, we're talking about women and stuff like that. How do I handle this kind of situation? Because you're married, what do you think I should do? I've got people that I can easily go to that can give me that advice. And for me, that's that's priceless. There's no price you can put to that. Just, you know, whether 10 billion won't give me that, you know. And sometimes it's just the love. Sometimes you just need to feel loved as a person and appreciated. And, you know, you get that from people. You don't get that from money.
Being your brother's keeper is priceless, and you can't buy love. Whew.
No, you
Hold on. Let's flip the script. Shai, answer the question.
Hey, let me tell you something, people. I'm pushing Chax to become a billionaire so I can retire. Nah, I'll tell you what, right? Like, I've thought about it. If you'd have asked old school me, Chax would know. I've changed a lot. Old school me might have gone for the money and say, I'll figure it out. I'll buy new friends. New school me, honestly, 100% honesty, is I would rather have my 10 closest, and I'd rather have all of us striving to get 1 billion each and just enjoy the ride towards that billion each. Because I think, similar to what Chucks is describing, like I've been in situations where we've had money, we've not had money, and whatever. And I know people who are extremely wealthy. I also know people on the other end of the spectrum. And I see everybody essentially as equally valuable, because you don't know what they'll say and how they can, like you say, make you feel. So I would take the 10 people, if that I can trust, that accept me as I am, because whether I have 10p or 10 billion, they're with me. That for me, like Chuck said, is priceless. I would take the 10 100%. Hopefully it doesn't come to that, but I'm realistic, people. But yeah, I would 100% take the 10. I always have 10 couches at the very least. How about you, Ray? What you saying, man?
No, perfectly answered and executed. Yeah, so it's a very interesting question, because I too have changed drastically in the last few years as well. And I've also come to realize that no man is an entire island by himself. So if I had £1 billion and I was just by myself, you know, as much as I'd most probably be crying in a car, like deep down, I'm not going to be happy, am I? So essentially, there's a statistic that came out previously that pointed out that as men get older, they have less friends. They have less friends, so essentially they have less people to lean on, speak to, lead them, help them, and just live life to the fullest. And that really hit home for me. So I'd fast forward into time thinking, wow, can I see myself being 50, 60 years old? And as much as I've got all the women or the money or whatever, it's like, it just doesn't do it for me. It's like, where's the happiness? Where's the fulfillment? Where's my good friends to help me out through certain situations? That's where you get purpose and fulfillment. And, you know, and it comes back to the whole community, because if I had to choose between the two, is, you know, definitely having all 10 friends, brothers, and me keeping them and them keeping me, and us all being accountable for us to create something we've never had before. Now that is priceless, compared to $1 billion.
Yeah. I mean, one of my uncles that I've always looked up to, he passed on now, and he always used to tell me, it's more important for you to have your dignity than to have all this money and stuff like that. And he used to always remind me to say, when you do die, your cars, your Mercedes, your mansion, your money is not coming with you. And people will not, when they're reading your eulogy, they're not going to say, oh, well, Chax used to drive a BMW, Chax used to drive a Mercedes. That's not what they're going to be talking about. They're not going to be talking about, oh, yeah, he had this big mansion and it cost 10 million. Every person there will remember you for what you did for them and what you meant, and that's what's important. People will talk about how generous you might have been to them, and something you might have done for them. When they're writing what they remember the most, they're not going to be remembering the material things. They're going to be remembering what you did for them to make them feel a certain way. So it's always how does the saying go? People always remember how you make them feel, not what you do for them, but how you make them feel. So it's important to have that drive in your life to always make sure that people remember you for the right reasons. Yeah. So because a lot of people kind of forget that, and they think, well, as long as I've got the biggest job, the best job, the biggest house, the biggest car, it shouldn't be about that. It's about how you make other people feel around you. What are people saying when you leave the room and walk out the room? What are people actually saying about you? So that's something that's always been ingrained in me as a person, and I've seen the benefit of it, because you can feel it. Like, there's no greater happiness than somebody appreciating you for a little effort, or just saying, thank you for just being there. Thank you for making me smile. Thank you for being kind to me. And you're like, you know what? I didn't put effort. I didn't do it just to get that praise. I'm not doing it so that you can say thank you to me, but it's just normal. It's a part of my life. So I'm just kind of glad and happy that, it's making a difference in somebody's life. And just your presence, just you being there makes a difference in people's lives. I mean, you can't put a price to that.
If you're married, you can put a price. It's half what you got. Like,
I can see. I can see who's going to sign a prenup here.
I say that because, as you were saying it, I was reminded of your example of doing the quick cleaning in the kitchen. People in relationships, and I think some of the people who were probably tested a lot during the lockdown, it's probably where you don't know who takes out the trash in your house. Like, you don't know who does all the little things. And now you've been sat together and you've not been doing any of the little things. And it starts to take its toll a bit, probably.
Yeah.
If you can just remember to smile at the person, or these are the signs, right? Maybe, well, it depends what you like, but I like someone who would smile at me, who would on occasion do something like that. So I would reciprocate. I think that would be a very healthy, happy environment to be in. And perhaps if you're not getting that, it's time to assess whether that's the best environment for you, or have the conversation around what kind of environment we want to have and build together. Because I felt like that was a big, big gem for people in relationships, because it's the little things that will often cause a breakup, in whichever way we want to look at it, whether it's the 16-year-old high school love breakup, or whether it's the 50, 60-year-old divorcee, or, divorce initiation there, because it's often just the small things that stack up. It's you just don't say you love me anymore. You just don't treat me the same. You don't pull out the chair. There's no compliments coming. But if that's what the person is hungry for, boom, it'll hit you hard. And man, yeah, this is beautiful. I saw a little space for a little extra one there. Apologies, I had to get it in.
We hear you. We hear you.
It's coming. Don't worry. Prenup or whatever. Huh? There's one more godchild coming your way, one way or the
other. Thank you for listening to Men Talk Ubuntu podcast and being a valued member of our community. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube, Instagram, and other social media now for access to our latest updates. DM us and let us know what your mental health is on a scale of 1 to 5. Thank you.
I want to transition into perhaps the final questions. But before that, I want to find out, knowing what you know now, when you think back, is there any advice that you would give to your younger self, whatever age you choose, that you feel would have been maybe learned faster, better, anything like that?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is not to compare myself, because I think growing up, I always kind of compared myself to what my friends had or where they were going in life. Um, I mean, it's understandable when you're young. It's more like who's got what trainers, who's got what video games at home, and who's got what, and then it kind of transitions into the next step. Like who's got the better girlfriend, who's going to the better club, who's booking VIP, who's it gets to the cars, who's driving what car, who's got what job. It keeps on going like that, and then you're always looking, and sometimes that kind of brings a lot of pressure on people. And we don't realize that we all go through a different path. And my circumstances are not going to be the same as Shy's circumstances or Ray's circumstances. And for me to put myself under pressure to achieve or to be where these guys are without knowing their actual journey, it's kind of being unfair on yourself. Because then it's not balanced. It's not a balanced comparison, if I may say. And so I, for a long time, I think up until I was about 25, that's what I used to always look at, like in terms of like who's got this, what do I need to do, and measure myself against other people, instead of thinking and looking at my own circumstances and choosing to work on those actual circumstances, have that vision to achieve, and obviously have goals, high goals and dreams, but work through it. Like, instead of looking to the left and looking to the right, focus on yourself more, what you have, and make the best out of your own circumstances and your own situation. Because a lot of people fall into a depression when they start comparing themselves to other people without realizing that that person as well might have gone through a madness for them to actually be where they are. And you might be admiring things without actually knowing the actual battle. I mean, we get all these guys who've got brilliant 6 to 7 figure jobs in the city and stuff like that, and they're committing suicide, they're jumping off buildings or trains, and you're wondering why. You had everything, you had an amazing house, you had a flat that's a penthouse, you had Lamborghini, you had this and that, and you're wondering why are they still topping themselves off, which is it's kind of sad to actually see, because then it's like all they needed maybe was a bit of love. Maybe they didn't experience a certain type of love that you've experienced whilst you were growing up, and they haven't had that, and that's what's maybe troubling them. And you're comparing yourself to them on a material basis, where what they need is actual natural love. You can't. It's like comparing apples and bananas. They're not the same kind of thing. So yeah, we shouldn't give ourselves pressure by looking at other people and what is the standard or the normal expectation of society. You need to look into yourself, your actual circumstances, your actual situation, work towards that, and build step by step until you get to the place that you need to be. It's easier said than done. I know it's kind of difficult, but you're only human, and being human means you also have to accept that that's just how life is sometimes. And yeah, so like they said, when lemons are thrown at you, make lemonade. Yeah. So that's the kind of advice I'd give my younger self. Don't compare yourself to other people. Just work according to your own circumstances and your own path.
And to add on that, what advice would you give to your younger self in terms of looking for brothers to be your keeper?
Yes, I think it's one of those pride things with us men especially. We don't want to open up, because then it might be seen to be a sign of weakness when you do speak of your circumstances or whatever you might be struggling with. I mean, Shai did mention something about having a breakup with a girl and stuff like that, and you might think, what, I can't go to Ray and tell him how broken I am about this girl. I just want to front it and just say, yeah, I'm okay, man, I'm okay, but inside you're actually dying. But you wouldn't know. Ray might have been through a similar or even a worse small situation, and then he might be able to advise you to say, this is how I dealt with it when that happened to me. So this is what it is. And sometimes you don't even need the solution. You just need a brother to say, you know what, I hear you. I hear your pain. I feel what you're feeling. That's cool. And I'm just gonna sit here and just let you say what you want to say. Explode if you want to. If you want to punch a wall, You know, you can use me, but obviously not Ray, because Ray is a bit more hench than I am. But yeah.
You'll hit back.
Exactly. Yeah. I might be forced to just hit you back if you hit me too hard. But yeah. It's kind of important that we kind of realize that when we're speaking to our brothers and finding somebody to speak to, it's not about finding solutions as per se, because we don't have answers to everything. But sometimes it's just being open enough to speak to somebody about it. And it's that young pride where we think being a man means, you know, sort everything out by yourself. Don't tell anybody your problems, because, you know, it's a sign of weakness. Don't cry in front of other men, you know, it's a sign of weakness. But if you don't cry in front of other men, who are you going to cry in front of? Because clearly, if you can't cry in front of men, you're not going to cry in front of women. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's better you cry to your brothers, so that the brothers can give you that strength and foundation that you need, you know? Yeah. So I'd definitely advise to be more open. Being a man is not just about sorting out everything by yourself. You need to communicate and talk to somebody. And like I said, if you're not comfortable speaking to the people around you, you can go to a therapist, or you can find other people to speak to. You know, there's a lot of help out there that just need you to actually take the first step and open your mouth.
Amazing. We're truly blessed to have, and fortunate to have had you come on this podcast. And as we're coming to the close of it, we normally tend to have, you know, little surprise questions to, you know, just catch you off the guard. See, don't worry, they're not that bad.
Better not be.
No. So the first one is, tell me, what's the best thing about being Black?
Best thing about being Black is being human, because that's what you are first. You know, you're human. It's not just about color. It's not just about anything. You're human, and being human means you're called to humanity. It's a brotherhood. It's a community. It doesn't matter the race. It doesn't matter your creed. It doesn't matter your ethnicity and background and stuff like that. The number one thing you're called to be is to be human. And being human just means you have to love everybody. You have to care for everybody. I mean, we're seeing this with the whole climate change thing. It doesn't matter what country or continent you're on. We all have to now start caring about the environment that we're in, because it affects the whole world. So your actions today, whether you're Black or white, will affect, you know, tomorrow, will affect the future generations that are coming on. So we need to recognize that, you know, being Black is being human, and being human means we have to take charge and be the part of the change and the positive change that the world actually needs right now. So we don't have to wait for any barriers to be broken. It starts with you as the person.
Excellent. Well said. And I see that manly beard out here looking so suave, so fresh. I gotta ask for a friend, not for me. Who taught you how to shave?
Well, like I said, it's something since childhood I used to see my granddad do. Obviously, sometimes I'd lend a helping hand, because I'll be begging him to say, oh, let me help, let me do this. So it's something that I've seen with him. And then it's something that I've seen with my older cousins as well. My first cousins, they'll tell me how to, obviously, the shaping up and everything else. But yeah, it's something that I've picked up growing up, because I've seen other men actually do it in the family.
Perfect. Just keep up the beard gang. Okay, so what books or resources do you hope people still enjoy 100 years from now?
Well, obviously, I am Christian, so I'm always going to promote the Bible, because nothing ever changes in this. The advice in that book is applicable yesterday, today, and tomorrow. The values are just the same, and I think that's basically what humanity is based on: encouraging love and living in harmony with everyone else. You have to be living in peace and stuff like that. So that's definitely one of the books. And so I'd say for every religion as well, be it the Quran or the Torah or whatever it is, that's your kind of guidance. So I feel, because that's what a lot of religions or societies are based on, Those are the kind of foundations that build on the children and future generations. So I think that's something that should always be encouraged, and for people to have the knowledge, not only just to be religious or anything like that, but it's more just to know the basics. I mean, some of this is history. So for you to know where you're going, you need to know where you've come from. So knowing those kind of backgrounds and what's set the moral standards and stuff like that in societies, whether it be, you know, in the Muslim state or Hindu or Christian or whatever it is, they all come back to kind of having the same morals and push the kind of same principles. So yeah, for me, that's definitely one of the major things that I would encourage. Whatever religion you believe in, follow whatever the book it is that you guys follow, kind of build on. And be a writer. Write your own stories. Yes, exactly. So we can't let these gems, like whatever Ray's been through and whatever Shai's been through, we need to be able to write something for the people that are coming to read as well, because people might not have access to you on a personal level, but when you live a book or write a book, other people in different places have got access to read what your story is all about. So a lot of people think you have to be a professional writer to write something about yourself. No, you don't. Just tell your story as it is, and you know, you never know who it helps.
Yeah, I continue to be inspired by the bravery that Chax has with just pivoting. Like, it makes things sound so simple, like, yeah, you know, I studied law, I went into HLA. These are big moves. And one of the moves is okay, I won't put spoilers on how many, but he's been working on books. And for me, I can't wait for the day that they're out there and how many more to come, because like he rightly says, you don't know the impact that they could have, but have the courage and the bravery to try it and see what happens. And I thank you for saying that on us. So Ray, you need to start writing. Didn't you know? Don't look at me.
I want to read your book, Ray. I want to read it.
Get writing, yeah. Let me ask you one more. What do you wish more men talked about?
I think men need to talk about how they're feeling in general, just their mental health. Because I think we always think it has to be very severe or extreme for us to be able to talk about it. I think when you start opening up in the early stages, it kind of would help to kind of mitigate the situation before it goes too far. Because sometimes we leave things a bit too late to do anything about them. And, you know, some people I've seen in the past, it used to be statistics when you hear like, oh, well, the biggest killer of men is suicide, and, you know, men between 20 and 45 and stuff like that. And you think it's just that. But when you get to the stage that I'm at, or our age, you kind of start seeing it. And then you kind of start understanding why life can be so difficult for some people and they can't actually push on. So the question then is, a lot of people always say, oh, I didn't know. He should have said something, you know? But the question is, when did you make yourself available? When did you ask the right questions to those people? It's hard to see or notice anything like that, really and truly. But like I said, it's simple steps, just like checking in on somebody, give them a call. I haven't spoken to you in a long time. How are you? You know, it's cliche. How are you? Everyone's always going to say, I'm fine. But, you know, ask the question, what have you been up to? Like, really and truly, is there anything that's going on in your life that you might be struggling with? You know, ask the question that actually matter and would make the difference. You know, yeah. And then other side, be open about it as well. When somebody does ask you, how are you? Don't just say you're fine if you're not fine. Just tell them, say, look, bro, actually, I'm going through this and that. You don't know, whatever you're going to say might help them as well. So men need to definitely talk more often and be open about their actual situations and circumstances. You don't have to go into great details, but at least just be open, because you don't know. You opening up to somebody might lead them to open up to you. So if then it becomes an exchange, it becomes a proper interaction, and then you're helping them, they're helping you, because then you're both going. There's many situations where I've spoken to people and been honest about my situation. They're like, what? You're going through that? Are you sure? For real? Oh my God, I thought your life is just all perfect. I'm like, no, man, it could be perfect, but we all go through different things every single day. So it's kind of nice to kind of be open, because then it encourages other people to be open about it as well. And then you then realize to say, look, I'm not the only one going through this. And then also there's people going through worse things. I mean, I've had situations where I had a bad year and I thought, you know what, this has been so terrible. And then one of my closest childhood friends just told me he was fighting cancer through the whole time. He didn't tell anybody, and he was just like, yeah, I've been going through chemotherapy and stuff like that. And I looked at him and said, wow, I've been here crying about my situation whilst you're going through an actual life-threatening issue. But us having that conversation made us open up to each other about what we've been going through. Yeah. So I'd encourage everybody to kind of start talking now, because then you don't know who you're going to help.
Powerful, man. I mean, that brings like Chadwick Boseman to mind, in the sense of someone just going through something and not letting anyone else know, and you never know. But if you share, they might get more open to sharing. So I started getting emotional at the end there. I don't know what happened, but there's an Oscar Wilde quote, that something like, "We're all in the gutter, but some of us are looking at the stars." I think that's a good way to envision all of us. So it doesn't matter what's in your wallet. We're all in the gutter. And what you don't want to do is just look down in the gutter at all the bad things, all the negative things. Like if you look up at the stars, you might have a vision for something better. You can enjoy some of the beauty that's free in this world. Like, okay, it's a bit hard to look at the stars when you live in the city center, I won't lie. Light pollution. I'm sorry, people. You need to go camping or something. Like, I need to do that. But just remember that all of us, none of us are perfect in a way. Perfect, I guess, stands for as good as something can be. So I want to say none of us are perfect, because we're always going to get better one way or the other, like a fine wine or something with good cheese. We're getting better with age. Look at all these. I mean, just look at us. Like, yeah. You see our teenage pictures. You're like, nah. You're looking at the real deal right now. If you're watching on YouTube, there's some handsome men out here. But yeah, I think that's a good place to be in. And in case your ego starts to take over or something, remember that you're in the gutter too. And just look at the person next to you and maybe nudge them and remind them to look up. What's that old cliche again? When you're down, look up, because at least if you can look up, you can get up. Come on, Les Brown. That said, Chax, bro, I just again want to thank you for helping us, I guess, promote positive perceptions of Black men and mental health. I know I'll probably range you in a bit with focusing on being my brother's keeper, because this is what you are for me, bro. And I'm very humbled and thankful you've allowed us to share this with loads of people out there in the world. I'm not going to be asking you about your socials. Keep away from Chucks. I'm safeguarding my brother now. I don't want to. Hey, man, I can't talk right now. Someone else. Nah. Allow it. Find your own. Yeah.
No, it's all love. Everyone's welcome. Yeah, everyone's welcome. So yeah.
And I'll say it then. If people wanted to learn more, hear more, or just follow you and keep up, what's the best way for them to maybe say what's up or show appreciation for your appearance?
I think if you're on Instagram, it's Duke of Charm, and that's my username or handle there. And you can just inbox me or something, and I'm happy to follow back.
Amazing. Thank you very much. It's an absolute pleasure and honor for you to not only have you join us on this podcast, but to also be an additional benefit to the Mental Ubuntu tribe and community. And more importantly, just finding out what you're doing within the community, your vision, your history, your mental health journey. And one thing you said at the beginning, I think this was pre-recording, is that as much as men, we have to look after, you know, the children in the community, the women. We more or less, you know, also forget, you know, the people not just behind bars, but more importantly, our own brothers. And we need to be keepers of those all the time, in now more than ever, in a very unique and particular way. Because if we're not our brothers keepers, then our community is not going to be as strong and sustainable as it should be. So even if it's saying, how are you, what's going on with you, what's really going on, not asking a deeper question. So yeah, thank you very much. Absolute pleasure and honor.
Well, thank you for having me, guys. It's been a great conversation to have, and I'd encourage everyone else to follow Mentor Kubuntu and the great work that, you know, is being done there. I think it's kind of needed, especially for men in general, in and around the world. So yeah, keep on doing the great job, and yeah, I'm very happy to be a part of it.
That's it. It's a wrap. Appreciate you, bro. Much love. Thank you for listening. If you've carried on up to here, of course you have. Hope you got some value out of it, and catch another episode. Appreciate you listening. Take care.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed listening as much as we enjoyed creating.
Don't forget to follow, like, share, and connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Subscribe to our latest episode and listen to any you missed. And tune in next episode.
Take care.